Hello and a warm welcome to everyone joining us for our webinar today. We appreciate you taking the time to join us and learn about the opportunities you have to master data analytics when you use Phrase. We're here today with a lot of great content to talk to you about that. And when I say we, I actually mean our three expert speakers. So let me introduce them right now. We have Kristin Sten, a product marketing manager. We also have Juanita Magro, our product manager, and Miklos Urban, our enterprise solution architect. So with that said, let me pass the floor to Kristin.
Great, thank you so much, Clara. Hi, I'm Kristin. Let's get started first with the agenda and by taking a quick look of what we'll be covering today. So first, I'll tell you a little bit about the business advantages of having access to data within the organization. I'll then introduce to you Phrase Analytics and also Phrase Data, two really great solutions of accessing data. We'll then move on and first take a closer look at Phrase Analytics, some common use cases, and share a product demo where we're very excited to show you our newest functionalities. We'll then take a closer look at Phrase Data, introduce some use cases here as well, and share with you some real-life customer examples. And at the end, we'll conclude the webinar with a Q&A session where you get the chance to ask all your questions. All right, let's get started and take a look at the advantages of having access to data. It can not only help you and your team to uncover insightful information and make data-driven decisions with confidence, but also help you to work more efficiently, increasing overall performance of your work and business. Having control over your localization data means that you can exactly build and create the insights you're seeking in, for example, fully customizable charts and dashboards in order to uncover your individual analytics use cases. This will help you uncover and get localization insights and drive ROI and the business performance. Having access to localization data also means that you always know what you're up against. So you can measure and track localization KPIs to optimize on efficiency and growth. It also allows you to create internal benchmarks in order to evaluate if a certain localization action is under or also overperforming. And lastly, by uncovering areas that need improvement, you can manage your resources effectively, which ultimately also increases the overall performance. So you see that having data at hand is extremely, extremely important in order to really understand your localization process, and even more so if you're planning to scale and grow your business. All right, and now that we have understood the importance of having access to data, let's take a closer look at how Phrase can help you achieve just that. And at Phrase, we have two very different solutions for you of accessing data. And I want to tell you a little bit more about them. The first being Phrase Analytics. It is our in-product analytics solution that lets you access your localization data within Phrase in our interface. It consists of a standard analytics solution that gives you access to out-of-the-box data insights with already predefined charts. So all the relevant data already sits there for you to uncover. Or we have a more advanced analytics solution for those who have a more tailored approach or need a more tailored approach that come with a fully customizable charts and dashboards in form of a self-service reporting solution. So Phrase Analytics is really the analytics and reporting solution for you if you want to have an easy-to-use analytics platform that might require some customization, but you don't have or need a dedicated business intelligence tool set up. And on the other side, we have Phrase Data if you want to take it a step further. So with Phrase Data, we hand you all your localization data in order for you to export and transfer it out of Phrase. So you can combine it with other business relevant data in your company in the business intelligence tool of your choice. So Phrase Data is really the solution for you if you have a dedicated business intelligence team and you need to export your data in order to compare it to other performance metrics across your organization and across your business. So you see, we have just the right analytics solution for you, no matter what exactly you're looking for, what use case you would like to cover. And if you want to know more about the pricing, please visit our website or contact your customer support manager. And it's very much dependent on your requirements and also use cases. All right, and with that, I will hand it over to Juanita, who will tell you more about Phrase Analytics, our in-product analytics solution in Phrase.
Thank you, Kristen. So how can users take advantage of Phrase Analytics, you'd say? And Phrase Analytics, particularly our self-service reporting platform, aims at providing insights on vital localization use cases. And here we have just mentioned a few use case examples, such as the visibility on the workload of your providers and the job delivery timeframe in terms of on time and overdue. And of course, the potential to identify where certain delays may be caused, or which providers tend to perform well, or even which language pairs take longer than others. Other than that, there's also a gain of one understanding of the correlation between the word count, the editing time, and the duration of the job completion across different language pairs and also assigned providers. You'll also be able to discover how content translated through machine translation or translation memory is utilized, even more so from post-editing analysis data. So these ultimately will lead you to improve your localization workflows and optimize for better results, be it your financial spends, provider efforts, time, or even quality. And now let's have a short demo that gives a high-level walkthrough of Phrase Analytics. Let's start off by briefly going through our predefined dashboards in Phrase Analytics. The volume dashboard gives an overview of how many words or characters have been processed month on month, and how this count is accounted for by project and by other several dimensions, such as project owner, provider and workflow step, locale pair, and some other project metadata, such as client and domain. At the top of the dashboard, one can easily adjust the filters as preferred. Words attributing to trashed or deleted jobs may be excluded or included by adjusting the dashboard filter of the job state. Data results can also be downloaded by clicking on the 3 dots button at the side of each chart. Click on Download Results, and then you can choose one of the following formats. And this is present for each and every chart. The time dashboard, it shows visibility on overdue and on-time jobs based on the due date that's set and also on the status of the job. An interesting chart here is the average job duration, which provides the time duration of a job in new status until it is emailed, the duration of the job in email status until it is accepted, and the same duration until it is delivered or completed. And this is particularly useful to see how the durations fluctuate across the different language pairs and possibly also identify bottlenecks contributing to a high duration in a particular job state. The quality dashboard is essentially for those organizations that use the LQA feature, and it features a breakdown of the assessment by category and severity, with the scores measured by project and provider. It reveals insights on how the quality score is performing, also by language pair and by client over time. The quotes takes the form of a table-like structure, and it displays a detailed breakdown of vendor payment information, as you can see. The filters at the top are quite handy here to get the desired result, including also the quote ownership filter, which identifies whether the organization is the creator of the quote or not. Based on the quotes is the cost dashboard that sheds information on the financial spend month on month by provider, which is separated by linguist and vendor, by locale pair, by project, by workflow step, and by client. It includes quotes for all the workflow steps in the projects. And naturally, we calculate the savings by comparing the raw and net price from the quote. An interesting evaluation is how this transcribes by match type and match category in terms of the translation memories, machine translation, non-translatables, and their percentage match category. Furthermore, a visualization by savings by machine translation engine, it gives insights into which machine translation engine contributes to the highest savings. And we can also have the savings by linguist and vendor, again split the provider by 2. Furthermore, the next dashboard shows how words in connection with TM, MT, repetitions, and non-translatables are leveraged across jobs. And we can see some insightful observations across the locale pair, the machine translation engines, provider, and projects. In general, the unit of leverage is words, and it shows how the translated content is essentially utilized. It is computed as the difference between the number of words in a specific match category before applying a net rate scheme and the number of words in that specific match category after applying a net rate scheme. And now onto the advanced tab. And here we have a self-service reporting platform which provides curated data to build your own charts and dashboards as best suited for your company's needs. So let's dive into a bit of a high-level walkthrough of the platform. So click on Browse Data into our analytics schema, and here you find the tables that are available within Advanced Analytics. You can click into one of the tables and you see all the columns and data attributes that are available in the table. And for a better understanding of each of the columns, simply hover over the table, click on the book icon and select fields in this table. And here you'll find the data dictionary for that table. To create a new question, simply click on the New button, click on Question, and our analytics schema. And for the purpose of this demonstration, we'll do a quick example to showcase how it works. And I want to show the workload of the provider. So in this case, I know that the data resides within the job detail table. The metric would be the sum of words processed latest version by provider. And I want to ensure that the provider is not empty. So not empty, filter. And I want to view this for the past 7 days. So I'll select the job date created last 7 days, and finally click on visualize. And by default, it renders a visualization as best suited for the data, but you can also change it according to your preference by clicking on the visualization button and select one of the available options. I'll leave it as a bar chart in this case, and for each of the visualization type, there is a settings icon where you can update the color scheme. You can also change the display by showing even the values or adding a goal line, and updating the content within the x-axis and its presentation. So once done, click on the Done button and click on Save. I will change the name to Words Processed by Provider. And here it asks us where we want to save the collection. Then we have two options. My personal collection, and this collection is essentially viewed only by yourself. So all the charts that reside there, or even dashboards, are only viewable by yourself, by whom the user is logged into the application. Or there's also shared collection. And what this means is that any user within the organization can access and view those charts. So let's save it in the shared collection and click on Save. By default, it asks you if you want to add this to a dashboard. Let's click Not Now and go to the navigation side panel, click on Shared Collection, and here we see the chart that we've just created, which of course can be accessed, it can be modified by any user within the organization. Let's do a quick example and move one of our already saved questions in this shared collection. So I'll go into my personal collection, select one of the charts, I'll select Cost by Business Unit, click on Move, and select the shared collection, Move. And going into the shared collection, I now see the chart that has been placed under this collection, which can be accessed and viewed and also modified by other users with access to advanced analytics. Looking into the side panel, we have a collection called Templates, which has also been recently released. And here you will find a number of pre-made questions and dashboards with the intention that these will serve as building blocks that you can continue to build on. So let's head into the questions, and these are the pre-made current questions that we have. I'll click into one, and you can duplicate any of the questions. Click on Duplicate and select the collection, so whether it's your personal collection or the shared collection. You can also choose to add this question to one of your existing dashboards. So I'll click again on the three dots and Add to Dashboard, and then navigate back to your collections and select one of the dashboards that you have either in your personal collection or your shared collection. For instance, in the jobs created within a time frame, and this has placed the question within the already saved dashboard. I'll click on Cancel for now. And similarly, you can also choose to duplicate the whole dashboard. So the whole template dashboard, I'll go into the template, click again on the three dots and click Duplicate. And here you can again choose whether it's your personal collection or your shared collection. And in the case of this being a dashboard, you can choose to either duplicate the dashboard only as a whole, or you can also duplicate the questions within the dashboard. So what this means is that any changes that you do will not reference the original questions that are within the templates. And this is the template dashboard with all the questions that are found under the questions folder. So here they are placed as a dashboard with their own filtering. Actually, you know what? I'll duplicate the dashboard. I will also select on duplicate the dashboard only, duplicate, and it is now under my personal collection. As you can see here, job completion statistics, and I will make a change to have the job creator on a specific value by default. Done, and save. And here we can see the charts being updated based on the criteria. So if I head out again and into the dashboard, it will keep the preset value that I've given it within the settings. And if I navigate back to the templates and into the dashboards and job completion statistics, this will remain intact. So it is not impacted with any changes that I do. Why? Because the changes that I implemented and saved are done to the one that has been duplicated. Okay, let's go into creating a new dashboard. So click on New and Dashboard. Let's give the dashboard a name. So one time being Test Dashboard. And we'll save it under my personal collection, create, and it shows a blank canvas. Clicking into the plus icon, you can add the questions, so you can go into collections, and you can select either from the templates, from your shared collection, or personal. For the purpose of creating a new dashboard, I'll select a few questions from here. You can select as many questions as you want, and then you can also adjust the presentation and display of each of the questions. We can also add filters by clicking on the rightmost icon and select a number of filters. You can select the time, select any of these prerequisites, or all the options of the above. Let's go into all the options, and then you select on which you'd want to base the filter. So we can select the date job created, and over here I update the label. If you want a specific default value, you can assign from the drop down here. And once done, click on Done. I will also go to add another one, which is a category. And I will select Is. This would be a drop-down list, no default value, and multiple values. So I want to add the language pair. And I will update the label. Done. And once done, we can click on Save, and upon selecting a specific language pair or several language pairs, we will see each of the charts being updated. I will go into the Edit dashboard, and I want to show you the feature of adding new tabs. So I will select the plus icon there, and let's say you want to have a holistic dashboard that will show data across projects, across providers, across jobs, and you want to have these separated by tabs so that you will not have just one full canvas with like 20 or so charts. So we can give a name to each of the tabs. I will name this Jobs. This could be based on projects, and another tab could also be on providers. And here you can add again other questions related to the providers, the same for the projects, and of course apply the filtering to the new charts that you'll add. You can also choose to add a heading. So this is like some text or context that you would like to add as part of the dashboard, or even a subheading where you would like to explain part of the chart in more detail. Those are other options. So I will click on Save. And for each of the charts, similar to how we have looked into the other dashboards, you will also be able to download the data. So it's clicking on the download icon here if you're accessing the chart directly and selecting the format, or if it's like a dashboard, then it would show as the three dots to the side icon, where again you can download the data. You can also bookmark, so I can bookmark this dashboard for quicker and easier reference, and that would be the bookmark icon over here. Or instead of going into it, you will also find it from the three dots here and click on bookmark. And as you can see, they are listed at the topmost of the navigation side panel. So if I have to navigate back and into the advanced analytics, they will show under the bookmarks section. And if they are no longer of reference to you, simply click on the remove bookmark icon. One final thing is perhaps on adding your own collections. So you can add your own collection by clicking on the three dots, new collection. I will create new collection, the works in progress, and create, and basically this creates a subfolder within my personal collection. So if there's like a specific folder with draft charts that you want to keep separate from your other charts, you can have this set up. That's basically it in a nutshell. I hope I didn't go too fast and I tried to give as much overview as possible.
Okay, so from here, let me take it over. Juanita showed us what is possible via the user interface in Phrase TMS. Now we are going to dig into data that is not available in the UI. It's available in a data warehouse. So if you could go to the next slide, I'm going to talk about Phrase Data, which is a curated collection of tables data in a data warehouse. It contains all the data that is produced throughout the processes that you run in Phrase TMS. It includes data in terms of projects, the project life cycle, like dates, status changes, and that kind of things for each and every job. Machine translation metrics, analysis data, finances, and many other things. To use this data, you probably need a data team that can help to visualize this data. For example, in Power BI or any other data visualization tool. And it is also important to mention that this data is very valuable if you want to connect this data with other areas of your business, let's say, or you just want to have deeper insight into your localization program so that you know more granular information, or you have complex questions that you cannot phrase in the data analytics interface, or simply some data may not be available that is available in Phrase Data. The data that we expose in Phrase Data is it uses Snowflake technology. It's a data warehouse software, and it is available via the standard SQL language, which is like a query language that you can use to in a technical way put those questions that Juanita just showed. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, thanks. What I brought to you is more storytelling. I will not click through a data warehouse and show you data points and a lot of information that doesn't really make sense in that way. But I brought you some stories. The first story is about a client that is using a way of continuous localization that they have evergreen projects. Evergreen project means that they, as soon as something is published by a content writer, it is picked up by an automation into a Phrase TMS project, and it automatically gets to a translator. But not only that, even if the content writer updates the content, the file is refreshed within Phrase TMS. What it means that the translator will be at a point in the translation, let's say it's in progress, and then suddenly he or she gets a message that the source has been updated. So please refresh the screen. And of course, the translator can carry on the translation from the point that he or she was at the moment. But basically, it produces a problem to provide a fair word count, what he did before and what is coming after, right? So we need to provide a fair word count. Now, that's not easy. That's a tricky thing, because you have to capture that point. You have to make like an analysis at that point and so on, and it's not easy at all. And the way we can provide this data and we solve this issue is that we combine the analyses within the platform created within TMS via automations, and combine them in Phrase Data in a very peculiar way, to provide fair numbers that are acceptable to all parties and that show the actual value of the work estimated based on weighted word counts as everybody uses. The second use case is also from the software industry, and that is a large program, a complex program, where many freelancers work side by side for each and every language. And the client wants to check the reliability of, well, we are talking about hundreds of freelance vendors in terms of their consistent empty post-editing practices. That means that we assume, or you can assume that for a language pair, when you're translating into, let's say, English to German, then you expect that the empty post-editing edit distance metrics, how much edits the post-editors need to make to correct the raw empty translation to make it publishable quality, is somewhat around the standard number. It's not going to be equal every time, but it is averaging and converging into a certain number. So if there is an outlier that is too high compared to the average or too low to the compared average, that means that the post editor may be over editing or under editing the text. Well, under editing is a bit of a problematic, because that means the quality of the output is not good enough. So we are talking about a lot of freelance vendors. We are talking about a lot of data points, and the client wants to review this at an instant, or let's say in a couple of minutes. So the solution in this case is to use the empty distance metrics and also the vendor volumes, how much the vendors translate or freelance translators translate, and plot it on a chart that shows each freelancer's working on a certain target language. And in that chart, you can see the outliers. You can see if someone is not working enough or working too much, or under editing or over editing, well, at least the data shows it, and it can be used as a red flag. So the project managers can click on the data point and drill down the data and figure out the details, and even go down even to segment level to check what's going on. And maybe there is like a explanation why the data shows some outlier numbers, but in some cases it may be that the translator needs some extra training or instructions. The third use case is coming from an e-commerce company who have a couple of vendors working for them. And of course, they have SLAs, service level agreements, that have requirements in terms of the turnaround times and also in terms of quality. So the client wants to track these metrics on a chart so that they can see if any of the vendors do not adhere to these SLA requirements. And what you can do is, again, use Phrasa Data and combine the quality metrics for the client, for the vendor, the target language, and the deadline, how they keep the deadline, the turnaround time compared to the preset deadline, the expected deadline, and put it on a chart in a way that the client can easily see if there are any vendors who are not keeping them, these deadlines, or are underperforming in terms of the quality. So that's another use case, how you can visualize data coming from Phrasa Data to support your localization program, and also provide actionable input for your project managers. The last use case is actually coming from a localization industry company, an LSP basically, who runs a sophisticated localization program for a long time. And they've been capturing localization data for ages. And then recently they migrated to Phrasa TMS. And that was a requirement that they want to make data continuously displayed over this migration period and even before. So there's no gap in the data. It is not cut off. So they have the old data, they have the new data, and somehow merge it. Phrasa Data is the best solution for this. So they use their legacy database where they collected data from the legacy workflows, and they have Phrasa Data where they collect data from the Phrasa TMS-based production. And these two data sets can be merged easily. Well, technically, it can be merged into a single data set, and then you can drive visualization based on these data sets, this merged one, so that you can see the timelines and the trends for years, even for the interim period when the two technologies were running side by side and gradually moving to Phrasa TMS. So as a summary on the next slide, with Phrasa TMS, you can enhance your existing data warehouse, your existing data that you already maintain, and add localization related information into it, and connect the localization data to your sales figures, to your website traffic, to your other kinds of insights into your product lifecycle, and gain information how localization affects your other areas of the business. You can get deeper insights into your localization efforts or your localization, whatever aspect you like, in terms of the project lifecycle, in terms of, as mentioned, quality, volumes, and also machine translation performance. How the machine translation quality affects your translators, how the content is matching to your machine translation engine, if it's like a trained engine, is the content matching it? You can draw all those information from phrase data and act upon it. You can connect this data to other data sources utilizing data transport called ETL or ELT processes. And last but not least, we are talking about a lot of data. A lot of data nowadays is used many times for machine learning purposes. So you can, of course, utilize this data and build or use it to build machine learning models to support your decisions and your production or your localization program. I said in the beginning that phrase data requires expertise, requires a data team who can help you visualize the data. But actually, on the next slide, I just wanted to bring you an example that it's not always true. Phrase data is available actually from Excel. And if you have some expertise in Excel, you know how to use an external database in Excel. You can easily craft your queries there. And as on this chart, you can see, you can pinpoint an overuse or some boost in any metrics and get down to the data and figure out what happens there. So that's exactly what I wanted to tell you about phrase data now. Let me pass on the word to Christine, I think. Or Clara, maybe. Sorry, maybe Clara.
Yes, thank you, Miklos. I'm happy to take it on here for the Q&A. So for anyone who has any questions regarding phrase analytics or phrase data, please use the link that you can find in the Zoom chat, link to Slido, where you can submit your questions. And let's have a look. We already have some, but first, let's have a look at where people are connecting from. Which we asked at the beginning. Spain, that sounds like a much warmer weather than what I'm experiencing here in Prague. So I'm a little jealous of that. And let's have a look at the questions. Let's start with the first one. Can we get a free trial to phrase data to explore more? What kind of support is provided for onboarding? So who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that one. So yes, free trial is offered. We do have documentation that can be followed so that you can get more acquainted with the data. However, support is also provided if you have any difficulties in understanding the data.
Okay, thank you. The next question, what is the data retention made available in phrase data?
I can take on that one. Basically, from the point that you subscribe to phrase data, the data is there. It's yours, and you can use it.
Okay, thank you. Next question, how does access rights work in phrase analytics? So maybe Juanita or Kristen?
Yes, so for administrators, they have access to view all the data. And then for project managers, you will be able to set the settings from the user settings. So when you head to the user settings, there's a section that explains basically one of the three options. So you would need to choose to view all the data or view the data created by the user himself or view no data at all. So those are the three options that can be set for project managers.
Thank you very much. Let's have a look at the next one. Are there any connectors between phrase analytics and other CMS systems?
Not at the moment.
All right.
I'm not sure actually we understand this question.
Yeah.
Let's ask it back, because TMS's content management system is something that we connect from out of the Phrase TMS system, right? So we can import files from content management systems like Git or WordPress or Braze, or just to mention a couple of those, or even like online folders. But Phrase Analytics itself is not really related. It's collecting data once the information is imported, the content is imported into Phrase TMS, and what happens in there. I don't know if I managed to answer. If not, please try to elaborate on the question.
Thank you, Miklos. I think we can always follow up after the webinar with more details that go beyond the scope of this session today. We'll definitely circle back. All right, next question. What metrics and error typology do you use for LQA and for monitoring empty quality output?
Let me take this one. So for LQA, Phrase TMS has a MQM based LQA profile where you can switch on and on certain categories, and you can score each error that is registered as an LQA error on a, I think, 4-level scale, like preferential, minor, major, critical, and that's the error typology. So MQM and 4-level, 4-scale level. Regarding empty quality, we use DER scores. That's translation error rate, I think that's what it stands for. CHR-F3, so that's character F3 score, and blue score. These are available currently for the empty quality metrics. These are all three of them are like edit distance metrics based on the difference between the final translation provided by Phrasa editor and the raw empty translation that the translator saw when got into the segment.
Thank you very much. Next question, what's the freshness of data? So how up to date, or how do I know when the data was last updated, maybe?
Yeah, I can take this one. It's twice daily. So we have the times listed in our Help Center article. Basically, there's one around midday, and then there's another freshness of data towards the end of the day. However, the times are slightly differentiated across the EU instance and the US instance in order to be in line more with the business operations. So I would refer you to the Help Center article for the exact timings.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And what looks to be the last question at the moment. Hi, is there a way to analyze users' data? For example, an export or graph of total jobs worked on or the last time they were active on the account. This would allow us to manage activating users.
I can answer this from Phrase Data point of view, and I leave Juanita to answer it from the advanced analytics point of view. So Phrase Data has this information. It has the assignment information. It has the job status change information when the job got completed or accepted by a translator. So you can connect these data points and see when a user last accepted a job or last completed a job, or similar queries you can craft. So I think in Phrase Data, it would absolutely be possible.
With Phrase Analytics, the first part, yes, it's possible to get the total jobs that are worked on by the translation providers. However, we do not have any data on the accounts. So when they were last active on the account, that is not yet something that's included in Phrase Analytics.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you so much. That seems to be the last question that we received. If anybody wants to follow up, don't hesitate to contact us or your customer success manager to discuss more. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you to our wonderful speakers, Juanita, Christine, and Miklos. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.